Hello, this is Marie Beals, and tonight I'd like to share with you how to get the credit you deserve. Good credit is an asset. It's something you deserve to have and something you can easily get. No matter what your credit history is, if you have no history, if you've ruined your history, I can tell you some ways tonight to definitely help yourself. I have 20 years of retail experience dealing with people with all kinds of credit, and I've seen a lot of things across my desk that definitely could have been better if the person only knew how to repair their credit. So tonight, hopefully I can help you repair yours, no matter where you are in your credit life. Before you go about repairing your credit, you probably know what a credit report is. And a credit report is just a listing of all of your credit activities. Any charge cards you have, utilities, student loans, judgments, bankruptcies, closed accounts, open accounts, you name it. Anytime you've made or received or asked for any type of credit, there's a listing of it on your report. These reports are gathered by places called credit bureaus or credit reporting agencies. In this country, we use Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. What these places do is record requests for credit, and they gather information on the applicant, and they send that information back to the store or the charge card company or whatever it is you're applying for. These reports contain information that a computer actually puts all together into something called a FICO score. And your FICO score is just a computer-generated ratio of how likely you are to default on the credit that you're asking for. The higher the score, the lower your default rate. And that's how a credit score is calculated. So there's a couple of things that go into your credit score, and they're all important and they all affect it. And you see from this graph, there's actually 5 things that go on your credit score. Your payment history, the amounts that you're owed, the length of credit history, new credit, and the types of credit used. You can't have too much of one type of credit. If you have 2 or 3 car loans, they're not going to give you another one, and that definitely reduce your scores. New credit is the number of recent accounts you've had. If you have a lot of things opening up at once, that's a problem too. That can lower your scores. There's also things called red flags. When you think of a red flag, what do you think of? Caution, right? So when the banks see a lot of different addresses or different jobs in a short amount of time, or a lot of inquiries for credit all at once, this raises red flags, which don't necessarily lower your score, but they make you more of a risk to the lender and can affect whether you get what you want. And there's specific reasons why your credit score can be low. Negative marks, which are things you haven't paid, high debts. If every charge card is maxed out, if you're just loaded to the gills with debt, it's definitely going to affect your score. If your credit history is too short or if there's no credit, mistakes or disputes. Now, how to go about changing a credit score? It's not as hard as you think. The first thing that, if you have the means, is to hire a pro, hiring a lawyer who specializes in fixing credit. Don't go online and just type in how to fix my credit. You'll get pages and pages of agencies that'll charge you a lot of money and do pretty much the same thing you can do for free. If you can afford a lawyer, get one. If not, and most of us probably can't, you can definitely do it yourself. The first thing you can do to improve your credit score is to improve your debt-to-income ratio. And all that is it's a calculation of how much you make versus how much you pay out. To get a car loan, your debt-to-income ratio can't be over 40%. So after all your expenses, you have 40% of your money available. For a mortgage, it's 45 to 50%. At least it is now. It used to be that way. So how can you improve your debt-to-income ratio if you can't get another job? Well, you can ask for a higher limit on your credit cards, because this will increase your debt-to-income ratio, which will then increase your scores. You can pay down any cards that are over the limit or close to the limit. Just get a little breathing room there. Makes it look better on your report. Eventually, you can start paying off your cards completely one at a time, but don't close them. Open credit lines with no balances help your debt-to-income ratio. If you can't pay a card off completely, get it down to 50% of the credit line. If you have a $1,000 limit, try to get it down to $500. Again, it helps your debt-to-income ratio. Work to pay off all your credit cards first. Start with the smallest balance and work your way up, but don't close them. After they're all paid off, and this might be a couple years down the road, but after they're all paid off, just keep the 3 or 4 longest ones you've had, again, to lengthen your credit history. Now, how do you handle disputes and mistakes? They happen all the time. Wrong name, wrong address. If you're a junior or a senior, you might get somebody else's stuff on your credit, so these are things you should be aware of. Get a copy of your credit report. If you apply for credit and you're turned down, you'll have the option to get a free report. Analyze the report. See what's wrong, see what's on there. What to do when you find a mistake. If there's a mistake, dispute it. According to the Credit Score Tune-Up Handbook, federal law allows you to dispute anything on your credit report that you feel is incorrect. It's like pleading not guilty in court. Then the court has to prove you're guilty. Same thing with credit reporting agencies. If you say there's something on there that's not yours, the burden of proof is on them to prove that it is. How do you do this? You write a dispute letter. Be very specific. Read the report, find the mistake, tell them this is not mine, I want this removed. If you have a lot of negative listings, though, don't dispute them all at once. Just do one or two at a time. And I've had people I know that had legitimate mistakes on their bureaus and disputed them anyway. Now and again, they'll get taken off because the bureaus get so many requests for things like this. If it's a small request, a couple $100, they might just put it to the side, and then your scores will go up. Be consistent. If you don't hear back from the credit reporting bureaus, at least in 90 days, send another letter. If that doesn't work, call the creditor. They have the same burden of proof. They have to prove the debt is real. So, just being consistent, keep records of everything, who you talk to and everything. How to start on the road to good credit, the guide for beginners. Start small and work your way up. One of the best ways to establish credit is with a prepaid credit card. $300 balance, get it, pay it, your scores will go up. Get added to an account. If you have a relative with excellent credit, ask to be put as a user on their account. You don't even need to get a card. Be a user on their account. Their good credit will go over to you. The best way to get good credit is actually to get a cosigner. If you're starting off, you might even need a cosigner for certain loans. If you have a relative or a friend who will help you out, that's the way to go. Don't be afraid to ask. They might just say yes. In conclusion, it's never too late to get the credit you deserve, and there are lots of steps you can take to get the credit you deserve. It's always best to start off on the right path, but even if you've burned every bridge behind you, you can and will repair your credit history. Your credit scores change every day, and with some good habits and patience, it can and will get better.